Today is August the 1st, 2022. We're calling the meeting to order about 8:35. Also would like to indicate that proper notice has been given as required under the Ohio Revised Code 121.22. And we're going to begin our meeting with a salute to the Pledge of Allegiance. And always, those veterans that are in the house, I'd like you to stand up and lead us in the pledge. And as I've said several times, we are so fortunate to have veterans on our staff. Not only have they served the country, but they serve us well as well. So our agenda is pretty tight. We're going to start first with approving the board meeting minutes from July the 26th, 2022. Everybody's had an opportunity to review them. Are there any updates, changes, or amendments?
I'll move approval of the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. Next is ballot remakes for the August the 2nd, 2022 primary election. By the way, August the 2nd is tomorrow, which is Election Day.
Yes, Krista Criddle, our Operations Administrator, will present the ballots remakes to the board.
Morning.
Good morning.
So our first set of remakes are the Uacava ballots. Those are the uniformed overseas voters. We email those ballots, they come back to us, and then they mail them back to us, and then our bipartisan teams remake those ballots. Those are ballots A1 through A22.
I'll move approval of ballots A1 through A22 as remade by bipartisan teams.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you. The next set of remakes are damaged ballots. Some of them have whiteout, they may be torn, something spilled on them, so they won't properly go through the scanner. And those are also remade by our bipartisan teams, and those are A23 through A28.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries.
Thank you. The next set are ballots that were reviewed by our director and deputy director as having stray marks on them that would preclude them from scanning properly. Those are ballots A29 through A33.
Move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? And that motion carries.
Thank you. The final category, we have two ballots that were we put in the category voter intent. Those were also reviewed by the director and deputy director. It was very clear. They completely scratched out and that they selected a candidate and realized that that's not what they wanted. It was very clearly marked as to what their intent is, and those were ballots A34 and A35.
I'll move approval of those two ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you. That's all we have right now.
Well, we're getting off to a good start. Thank you all. Next, we have logic and accuracy testing in preparation for August the 2nd, 2022 primary election.
Yes, Madam Chair, in your packets, you have the results of the public test that was conducted last Thursday, July 28th. This is just one part of a series of logic and accuracy testing that's performed throughout the election cycle by our bipartisan team. The results of that public test do need your approval. We also want to note that the report has a different look. Same information, as always, has been contained on our cumulative report, but we're using this new updated formatting for the August election. So we wanted to give you sort of a heads up to that too. It has a different look. Again, all the same information, just a different format.
Yeah, it has color on it this time.
Yes.
And it's portrait
It's
oriented.
portrait instead of landscape. That's correct.
Looks good.
So we do just need a motion to approve the logic and accuracy
I'll move that
testing.
we approve the LNA report.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. Next is the resolution regarding ballot printing contract.
Yes, our current ballot printing contract expires at the end of this month, so staff issued an invitation to bid for both Election Day ballot printing as well as absentee printing and assembly of the envelopes for the next year. This is a one-year contract, so we issued the ITB. We received 2 responses, and staff has done our due diligence and consulted with the prosecutor's office and has found MCR to be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. So staff's recommendation is to award the bid to MCR.
I'll move approval of resolution number 22-004.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Regarding Resolution 22-004. Next is approval or discussion of outstanding absentee ballot processing for the November the 8th, 2022 general election.
Yes, Madam Chair, as I mentioned, part of that ballot printing contract is the outsourcing of the absentee ballot processing. It's staff recommendation that we outsource that processing to our vendor for this upcoming November election. We do anticipate a large number of absentee ballots being requested. The applications would still be received by the board. The applications proof, the data entered into our system by our bipartisan teams. What the vendor would do is print the ballots and the information onto the envelopes and then assemble that for us. We have done this many times in the past, most recently in the extended primary election of 2020, as well as the general presidential election of 2020. Since then, the Secretary of State's office now requires the board to vote in public session to outsource this and to develop a plan for this process. That plan has been developed by staff. It's in your packet. Again, this is pretty much what we did in the 2020 elections, which worked very well. And that's what staff is recommending again today. So if the board approves the outsourcing, this plan, along with a copy of the contract, will be submitted to the Secretary of State's office per directive.
So the vendor is going to do the initial, like they're going to do the envelope, stuff it, but they're going to bring the envelopes back down here?
That's correct.
And we mail them?
And we mail them. That is correct. They are delivered to our board. There's a quality control method I think that you're aware of from your time here with the staff that we go through before we mail them. Years ago, the vendor would do what we call the backlog, which would be those requests that we received through the opening. But in 2020, we had the vendor do this process all the way through the election cycle until the Friday before Election Day, and that worked very well. So that is our plan, again, for this November election. With the exception of Uacava nursing home and ballots for voters who are in jail, those will be processed in-house. And then we will process any requests that come in on the last day to request a ballot by mail, that Saturday before Election Day. We'll do those in-house so that we can get them mailed in the same day.
And their accuracy rate is probably a little better than our manual process here at the Board of Elections.
Yes, I believe in 2020, I don't think we had one voter receive the wrong ballot by mail, I don't believe. Right, Krista? Yeah, yes, so very high accuracy rate.
Yeah, that's good.
With the vendor.
So the plan that we're submitting, we don't have to they will accept our plan as long as we have a plan. We don't have to worry about voting on this today and then it's sent up there and there's a question regarding anything in there?
If there's any questions, the deputy director and I will handle that. We don't anticipate any. This is, we have followed the plan that's outlined in the directive.
Okay, okay. Okay, any more discussion?
I'll make a motion that do we just need a motion to approve the plan? Is that right, Sherry?
To approve the outsourcing of absentee ballot processing for the November election.
I'll move approval of outsourcing of the, of this portion of the absentee ballot processing as outlined in the plan.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. Thank you for clarifying that as well, both of you. Next is the approval, discussion, ballot of ballot and provisional envelope quantities for the November the 8th, 2022 general election.
Yes, Madam Chair, in your packet, you do have a spreadsheet that lists the ballot and provisional envelope quantities per precinct that staff is recommending for the November general election. Staff is recommending that we print 1% over the total number of registered voters as we anticipate a high turnout for the November election, and that is indicated in the spreadsheet. Staff will continue to monitor registration totals and make adjustments as necessary and report back to the board with a revised plan if necessary within 30 days of Election Day.
Now, is this just applicable to provisional envelopes? Or when I look at these numbers, for example, by precinct, it has some numbers, some data here.
Yes,
So-
it's the number of ballots ordered for Election Day as well as the number of provisional envelopes that staff recommends allocating to each precinct. So it does both. It sets the number of Election Day ballots to be sent to the precinct as well as the number of provisional envelopes. And that number of provisional envelopes is based on, I believe it's 5% more, Ms. Criddle, than the ballots that were cast in the last, provisional ballots that were cast in the last similar election of 2018,
Okay.
rounded up to 25.
Okay, that was part of my question. Okay,
I'll move approval of the recommended ballot allocation that's in our packet.
Second.
any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries.
So it's clear that the report also contains the provisional envelope provisions that we've discussed, but I just wanted to be
Great.
clear that we approved the whole report, so.
Next, equipment allocation for November 8th, 2022 general election. I like it that we're we're predicting ahead of time instead of at the last minute. We haven't even started our voting for tomorrow, our final election for tomorrow, but I like that we're ahead of the game.
While we are conducting the August primary election, we are also planning for the November general. And in your packet, you have the equipment allocation recommended by staff for the November election. This is our standard allocation based on the current number of registered voters. Again, staff will continue to monitor any increases in registration totals and make adjustments if necessary and present those back to the board 30 days prior to Election Day.
I'll move approval of the acquisition, allocation, and distribution of voting equipment as recommended by staff
For the November 8th.
for the November 8th election, correct?
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. Next on our agenda is we are declaring officially the polls are open for the August 2nd, 2022 primary election that will begin tomorrow morning at 7:30.
I move that the Hamilton County,
So we're going into
6:30
recess, right? Or we have
To
to
open the
declare it
polls.
first.
Yes, to declare the polls open at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning,
Yes.
August 2nd.
I'll make the motion then, so it's clear. I move that the Hamilton County Board of Elections declare the polls to be open tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for the August 2nd, 2022 primary election.
Second.
Any more discussion? That motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. Sorry. All right, any other business?
Nothing from staff, just to report we were open all weekend for early in-person voting. That ends at 2 p.m. today. As of end of day yesterday, we've had 3,333 individuals vote early in person. 6,400 voters have requested a ballot by mail. About 64% of those that have requested by mail have returned. That's a little low for the day before Election Day. Could be that voters, once they receive their ballot and, who knows, for whatever reason, may have decided not to vote in this election. But that's where we are as of this moment.
Or many may decide just to come to the one box that we have, the box that we have here at the board.
Yes, the
At
drop
last.
box, or maybe decide to vote at the polls tomorrow.
That's true. That's true. Okay, anything else? I miss our Kenny. He's out doing his preparation in other counties as he normally has done. And so we are now going to stand in recess. We will reconvene as a board tomorrow at 6:30, August the 2nd.
I'll move that we stand in recess so it's clear that the board is acting.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That's, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.